It's time for the Little Agency That Roars podcast, a podcast that connects you with talented and brilliant people. And that's all of us. We are available wherever you stream your podcast, so go ahead and find us and subscribe. I'm your host, Michael Fasoni, and let's get started. Are you sure?
Yes.
Tim English in the sound cards.
Tim English in the sound cards.
That's great.
Ready.
Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing great. Sitting here with Jim McCullough, animator, visual artist. You tell me.
Visual effects artist, VFX supervisor, animator, owner-operator of Ignition Effects, writer, and those are my main things.
When did you start Ignition?
I think it was 10 years ago, actually, 2012. Launched it right after, had a film at Cannes Film Festival, and launched it right at the same time, so been going for 10 years.
Nice. How many people do you have?
It's myself mostly, and anywhere upwards to 10 people, depending on the project. I'll have contractors, It's usually me and 2 to 3 other people, but I've had jobs up to that I've had to hire out. I think we've had 10 people at a time, just because the size of the job. So
you just hire on as you need capacity.
Yeah.
Okay. What were you doing before you started at Ignition?
Corporate America. Same stuff. Doing animation and motion design. Worked like at CenturyLink, which used to be Embark, which used to be Sprint. I was in their video production department for a few years, and then I went through corporate merger and decided that was the time to go out and on my own and start Ignition. Okay.
So, and what were you doing there? You were just doing editing or animating?
Both. I was like the staff photographer, doing animation, video production, running cameras, doing webcasts. Pretty much everything.
Okay.
We had a team of, it was like me and 7 others that were doing all the video communication stuff for the corporation.
And that was when it was Sprint?
That was when it was Embark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you go to school for this?
Went to Johnson County Community College for graphic design. They had an incredible graphic design program there. And after that, started working soon after that, so didn't bother going to get a bachelor's or anything, and didn't really need it. So, just been learned a lot of video production and graphic design in that program, and all the teachers were former teachers at the Kansas City Art Institute that left there to teach in that program.
Oh, cool.
So kind of got the Art Institute education for community college price.
Nice. And so straight from there to Embark?
No, in between that, graphic design in a few different places.
Okay.
And and then went on at Embark. I think I worked at Embark there for 7 years.
So educate me a little bit, Jim, because I know formal schooling can't do a lot of our industry justice.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult to teach advertising in college. I remember my college advertising class, it was a joke. I actually taught half of it. They knew who I was, and they knew where I worked, and they knew what I did. And so, I went to Park, and at that time they were still a college, not a university. They didn't have university status. So like our advertising teacher was also the economics teacher, was also like, the swim coach. It was like, we were just trying to stretch, private school dollars as far as they could go. Anyway, my point is that I learned the most being out in the field.
Yeah.
And from what I've come across, with animators, we have an animator coming in tomorrow, in fact, who is self-taught.
Ooh.
He taught himself on YouTube at age 16. No formal schooling. So kind of unpack for me a little bit about that, or tell me, no, Michael, I really did learn 80% of my knowledge from, my foundation was built at Johnson County.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot there, and there's a lot to be said for both. I mean, being self-taught, because a lot of what I do did come from self-teaching. I learned a lot from, kind of the same YouTube videos and, online courses. And I think really it comes down to, the individual and what, how passionate they are about their career or their trade and what they do to, further educate themselves. Like, I've seen a few people that have been completely self-taught, and they're amazing. And that said, I don't know if I would be one of those people that would have the same track record if I was completely self-taught. I'm kind of more of a mixture of, there's a lot of things that I had to teach myself, but I did learn so much from the program that I was in. So, nowadays we live in an age where, you can learn, everything online. There's so much information out there. But, there's also a lot to be said for being part of a program, working with fellow students and building that camaraderie and really learning from each other in a classroom like that. So
I would say the next big step after getting the basics, learning how to actually make something, animate and, and visually and shoot and edit and do all of that, you have to find your style.
Yeah.
Before I got into advertising, I was in the AI realm, Art Institute realm. My major was actually architectural renderings.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I'm only saying that because, once I was taught how to use a repeatograph and a T-square and all of my different instruments, once I got the skill set, then I could figure out what I wanted to do with it. What am I going to do? Am I going to incorporate colors? Is it strictly going to be black and white? Will I use pencil sometimes? I don't know, Yeah. I had to find my voice, if you will.
Yeah.
So I imagine once you got your skill set down, you then had to find your style, your feel. Yes?
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that isn't really taught or can be taught
No, it can't. It can't.
Voice. So that's
it's like someone's hair. You can teach someone how to do hair, but and I know I'm going all over the place here, but once that stylist becomes licensed, well, then it's up to them what they want to do with their hands and their scissors and their craft.
Yeah.
Did you know? And I'm going to be completely honest. Tim sent me a version of your short this morning. I didn't see the email come through. I had a busy morning. I apologize. And I didn't actually think we could talk about it. So I figured why bother, educating myself. Because I didn't think it would be open on the table for us to discuss for reasons we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But so did you kind of know, like, I want to do this with it. I want it to be dark and moody. I want it to be happy. I want it to be Toy Story versus Wallace and Gromit, Help me out.
Yeah. So we're talking about Balthazar and Snert, my animated short.
We can jump right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not yes, but more holistically, your style.
My style.
Yeah, your style. Yes, and we will totally get to the short because I totally want to talk about that. It's an awesome accomplishment. But did you know did you kind of know where you wanted to take it once you got the skill set?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of always had a style of, I love I guess my style is a reflection of my passion, which is I love the absurd, finding humor and in the weird and the absurd and I've always had an affinity for monsters and weird things, so that came definitely came into the fold in the project. But yeah, my style as a whole, I just try to, I really like things that are just unique and have a sense of humor, or just kind of stand out.
Does your style of animation have a name?
I don't know. I do traditionally do 2D animation, but I also like to, I guess, mixed media for like better works. I use photorealistic backgrounds, like in this particular animation, and just kind of different styles, artwork styles, all kind of blended together.
So since this is a podcast, obviously, and we don't have any visuals attached to it yet, at least, can you kind of explain to people listening? Let's use some very generic examples. The Simpsons versus. Of course, I would start that question and not have a second half to it, but the Simpsons have one style of animation that we've all seen and familiar with, and then let's go to I don't know, maybe more of a stop motion, or maybe more of a, I don't know, I'm going to lean on you to help me out with this question. Because you know how different animated movies, trailers, whatever they are, shorts, have different feels to them. Like you said, you may incorporate photorealism in a background. You see that in video games a lot. Is there a name for those different types of treatments?
Generally speaking, there's, Simpsons would be just 2D animation, cell-drawn, hand-drawn animation. You got 3D animation, which is really the big thing right now with Pixar and everyone else following suit. But then, stop-motion animation, which I've done before, but that's, that takes a lot of time. A lot of time. Even more so than even traditional hand-drawn animation. Cell animation, 3D animation, stop motion animation. I think those are really the three main things. There's a lot of experimental animation out there now that incorporates all three, or two of the three. I've even seen some animations that use, like either video or photo, and they incorporate, the animation, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit's a great example of that.
There's
those are the big styles.
Are people still is hand drawing still dominant?
I wouldn't say it's dominant. Really, everyone has jumped on the Pixar train and really wants to have the 3D, which is I really enjoy good 3D animation, and there's a lot of 3D good animation out there, but I really have a soft spot for the hand-drawn 2D animation, and that's, I think, becoming rarer. Everyone it's 3D is more trendy and it's more sought after. So,
is there any advantage to hand-drawn?
The advantage, I think, comes down to style preference. For me, hand-drawn animation really, if it really feels more. I love seeing like the pencil marks and like the old Disney animations. You can actually see the pencil drawings and I just feel like there's more of a connection to the artist, at least for me, seeing that hand-drawn stuff, seeing the pencil marks and the I don't know, just the
layers.
Yeah.
It's fun to see the layers.
Right.
Like you said, cell earlier. A lot of people won't know what cell means.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
may have to explain that.
Yeah.
It's a piece of, I'll let you explain it.
Cellophane. The people draw in layers. So you have your hand-drawn as your top layer, and then usually the for those animations, the backdrop's usually done in like watercolor or acrylic or gouache painted background.
But also that cell layer that goes over the drawing also may have some outlines or characteristics that highlight the main drawing.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there advantages to purely digital that other than time, or is it not time? Is it not quicker to do it digitally?
Digitally is definitely quicker.
Okay.
Which is, I think, why it's caught on so much, because you can get animation done a lot, quicker, which
that's our business.
Cheaper.
Yeah.
It's
in our industry, if you can save time, you've accomplished half the battle.
Yes, exactly. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
when I started in advertising, rendering took overnight.
Yeah.
And I'm talking for a 30-second commercial. We set it to render, at 3 or 4 p.m., and you go the next day in the morning, and hopefully it's finished. Mm-hmm. And then Flame and Smoke came out in, I think, the mid or late 90s. And that's when you could watch things render in real time.
Yeah.
Man, was that fancy.
Yeah. Game changer.
What's that?
Game changer, yeah.
Oh, huge game changer. For advertising, especially. Pardon me, I didn't time that drink very well.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I have felt this way for about, the last 5 years, that animation is being used more and more and more, and I think it's the future. You can do more with it. It's more engaging than anything static, obviously. And more of what we are consuming is on a screen, whether it's a phone, a computer, a TV, in my car, wherever, screens. And the only way we're going to engage consumers and jazz them up is with animation, in my opinion.
Right.
People internally here have heard me preach it, and hey, let's not just throw that up there. Give it a little shimmy. I don't care if it, GIFs, they do a little shimmy. Yeah. I don't care if it give it some movement, because we have to grab attention.
Yep.
I want your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're the pro. I'm on the other side of the monitor.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, it's with like what you said, everything really benefits from having animation. I mean, because it's such. We're at the point now where people, you have to grab people's attention within a second, and animation can do that. Not only it being just something that looks unique, that really catches people's attention, because it's not something that people are expected, but it's also just that constant movement, and if it's done right, that it really catches people's attention right away, and if it's done well enough, then hopefully holds people's attention long enough to get your message across. So
it's you have nowhere to go but up, in my opinion. And I don't mean you specifically. I do mean you specifically, but I mean the industry as a whole. Animation really churches up a video spot. It doesn't matter the length, but adding animation to video, what a huge difference.
Yeah.
And again, when you get into formats that are static and smaller, you have to be really, really, really creative, and really, lean into that nuance. And I think that's where animation does a lot of the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I do.
I don't think I had a further thought than that, but I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you seen anything recently that has you excited?
Anything animated, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Anything that you saw that you said, I wish I did that?
Yeah, I'm always bad at coming up with examples on the spot, because I always have so many, and then my mind goes blank.
That's okay.
I would say, there's a lot of a lot of good stuff. I mean, like Rick and Morty, I love their animation style. It's just something that's unique, and they always take it a step further than you think it's going to happen. So it really always kind of catches your attention, and the animation, I think, is done pretty well, and for the most part, it's all 2D hand-drawn animation. So, that's really always kind of sells it for me. Man, there's so much good stuff out there right now.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And I agree. It's hard to pick one thing. We have someone, like I said, coming on Friday who's working on Archer. A lot of people don't know that Archer is produced here, I think, mostly local. Can you help me with that?
It's done Fulton County, or Floyd County, Georgia.
Okay.
They try to, I think, produce everything as much as possible in-house there, because I did work with them for a little bit as well, but ultimately they wanted, me to be there in Georgia, and that's not something I was able to do at that point. So, unless they change, I mean, this was a few years ago, so unless they changed, when I talked to them last, they were trying to do everything as much as possible in Georgia.
Gotcha.
And they got a huge, tax incentives with the film industry there, so that makes sense. Kansas City, I know we do have some tax incentives with filming here, but it's not quite at the level of, places like Georgia or Canada. Or
do you get a filming incentive if you're not filming? Because you're not filming.
Right. Yeah.
No, seriously, I'm being serious.
With Kansas City, I don't know what the film incentive does as far as post-production, because, that would be what animation would be considered post-production.
Okay.
Unless you're doing previs. I don't know what that extends to as far as animation, so that's...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We had Dave Odegaard on here, and he used to own Odegaard Outdoor, sold it to Lamar Outdoor.
Okay.
And I asked him, I said, when do you think we'll have fully animated billboards?
Oh.
How, or is that 10 years? Is it 20 years? And he didn't really have an answer. It's a tough question to answer. And I think, his immediate answer was one, it's illegal. You can't have movement on a 14 by 48 structure that large next to traffic. So you can only have those in areas like Times Square, where there isn't a lot of fast-moving vehicular traffic. Mm-hmm. Because they would be a huge distraction, as if our cell phones and and stereos and whatnot aren't a big enough distraction. However, we're one of the only states that we're allowed to text and drive.
Oh.
I think we're one of two.
Really, I didn't even know.
Yes, I think we're one of two. I have to look that up, but. I think that would be exciting, and I would like to see every city. I'd like to see Kansas City have more opportunities for digital signage, power and light, right here in Westport where we are. I don't know if it would last very long in Westport, but the plaza. But somewhere, we need more interactive signs like that. Mm-hmm. Why not?
Right.
They're everywhere else. We have that. There's that one that's on 47th Street on the plaza. I forget the name of the building. They have it's 100 feet by, I remember the dimensions. It's so small to be up. It's up 40 some stories or something, or however tall that building is. But I wish we had more opportunities like that around here.
Yeah.
Like a downtown Marriott on steroids. How they've tried with the string lights on the Marriott. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really enjoy driving by that. It's always really cool. Well, I know that I just saw in New York they did advertising with drones in the sky. So it was animated, but I guess it was high enough in the sky that it wasn't conflicting with the traffic laws. But I just saw that recently. And
is that where they coordinate 200 drones?
Right.
And those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What was it for?
Candy Crush, I think.
Oh my God.
The game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Drew Barrymore's doing a spot for them too.
Oh, okay.
They must have a ton of money.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Anyway, I would love to see more stuff like that in our own city. Mm-hmm. Maybe you and I can pioneer something.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've did a lot of the Sprint billboard or the Sprint Center, now T-Mobile Center, I guess. Did a lot of their digital billboards
On the inside,
animation.
On the ones on the outside,
Inside and outside, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Years ago, and did a lot of interactive kiosk and interactive billboards as well. So or not billboards, but interactive screens. So yeah, I have had a lot of experience doing that, and would like to see that trend continue.
Can you name an interactive screen project you've worked on in this city, if there is one?
In this city, I don't know if I've done a lot for like the Embark stores.
Okay.
So I think we had some at one point here. Besides the T-Mobile Center, I can't think of any that I've done here in town, because most of my work is usually out of town.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. I don't know if I've.
Where are you biggest, Jim?
L.A. Most of my work comes from. Just because it's most of the stuff I work on, it's either movies, film, music videos, or national spots.
That's fun.
So I'd say between that and Virginia Beach actually is the two biggest.
Just going from one coast to the other.
Right.
Here you are, stuck in the middle.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Does that mean you may have to move at some point?
I've considered it, but I've got 3 kids here. It would.
They have feet. They have bags. They have luggage.
Yeah.
Dad makes a good living.
That is true. It's. I've thought about it, but nothing concrete yet. No.
You like KC?
Yeah, got a lot of friends and family here, and
you're from here.
Yeah, from
Okay.
here, from Kansas City. So it's if I didn't have kids, then it would definitely be a bigger consideration. But
How old are your children?
I got a 13-year-old, got an 11-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Do they love what you do?
They seem to, yeah.
Or are they kind of numb to it?
No, they like seeing my animations, and I mean, my 4-year-old's always coming home from school drawing. Like all the kids are drawing, just stick figure mom and dad. Uh-huh. She comes home drawing like monsters, because like a lot of my cartoons have monsters in them. So it's kind of
Your PTA meetings are interesting.
yeah, it's a little endearing, and yeah. And then my 13-year-old, he just got into the broadcast program at his school.
Oh,
so
cool.
He's starting to learn how to edit and do video production and all that. And
so there's no hope for any of them. Right. They're all going into the industry. They're all going to work for you.
Yeah.
You're going to retire in 7 years when your oldest turns, 20?
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right. Tell me the name of your short.
Balthazar and Snert.
Spell that, please.
Balthazar ampersand SNIRT.
Okay. That's just for everyone listening, and we'll put that up in the show notes. What's it about?
It's easiest way to describe it is it's Lord of the Rings meets Rick and Morty.
Okay.
So it's just these two guys. One is a clueless village idiot who thinks he's a knight, and the other one's the really anxious wizard, but inexperienced wizard, and they have to team up to go slay this dragon and save their town. And along the way, they team up with a bunch of outfits or misfits. And and outcasts so we wrote it as a pilot, like a 22-minute pilot that would hopefully be on air, and each episode is them essentially fighting different monsters And
So it's episodic.
yeah, episodic. Yep.
Okay. 22 minutes, you said?
Yeah. So a 30-minute. If it was traditional TV, it'd be 30 minutes with commercials, but 22 minutes. Yeah.
Then how many have you produced?
So we've done a 5-minute kind of proof of concept episode as we're trying to get, funding to make an entire 22-minute episode. Because just the 5-minute episode alone took, a good 6 months of my life, and it's a lot of work. Animation takes a long time.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes of animation took you 6 months.
Well, it took me 2 years, but if I combine all my hours,
Sure.
it's like 6 months worth of work. And I had 2 other animators helping me on it too. So.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's important because a lot of people listening to this won't have any idea, what goes into animating, let alone what goes into making, a TV commercial or anything this isn't really industry specific.
Right.
But I guess how do we explain that for someone listening who doesn't know about animation? I could shoot a commercial in 3 days and have it done, in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why does animating take 6 months? I know the answer.
Yeah.
I just want to educate our listeners.
So for most of the animation that Balthazar Snert, it's mostly 2D. I mean, there's some 3D, and like the backgrounds are photos, but all the characters are 2D. So what that means is we have to hand draw them, design them first, which takes considerable time. Design them and then animate them, and with video, you go out in the back lot and do some jumping jacks. Mm-hmm. Record it, and you're done. But with animation, you're having to draw frame by frame the person doing jumping jacks. We do use some plugins like within After Effects and whatnot to help streamline the 2D process. But it's really it's a frame by frame thing versus video. So it's.
I'm holding a stack of sticky notes right here. Were you that kid in school that would take his textbooks and draw stick figures on the corner of each one and then flip them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was the best.
Yeah, it was.
That was so much fun. A stick figure pole vaulting or kicking a soccer ball or anything.
You're right.
Just find a big, thick textbook and work on that bottom right corner. And
that was me. Yeah.
I was somewhere around than you.
Yeah. It's a good way to pass the time when you're in a boring class. And
exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself. Just always animating as any way possible.
Now let's get to the exciting stuff, because you've got to be jazzed. I think I can say it. You have an option out there with Netflix.
Well, not an option yet.
Okay.
We're pitching it.
Okay.
Nothing yet.
Pitching or in the process or getting ready to pitch?
Yeah, getting ready to pitch. The composer for Balthazar Snert is meeting with the manager of original animation at Netflix to pitch our series, and we're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting anxiously to hear if anything happens with that. We had another producer take it out to the AFM, the American Film Market, last week or 2 weeks ago, and there were a few production companies that are interested in Balthazar and Snert. One of them very interested in it. So,
Jim, what's the American Film Market?
I'm
going to raise this for you.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of the big film festivals have film markets there, and that's where a lot of the business is done as far as being able to actually get a meeting with someone at a studio production company. And
so it's like a merchandise mart for a retailer.
Right. Yep.
Really? Where's it held? Vegas.
All over, AFM I think is in Santa Monica.
Okay.
There's the Cannes Film Festival is the largest. I believe it's the largest film market. You have your film festival, but then also all the studios and production companies are there, with their tables or rooms, and
awesome.
You book out meetings with them and pitch, and try to get something to happen.
So you had that going on, and then you're also soliciting Netflix.
Yeah.
How do you get Netflix's attention? What do you do? Aside from having a good product. So you have a good product.
Right. I hope.
Well,
yeah.
What do you do? Super curious.
Well, with Netflix, this really came down to a matter of who you know. Like, because the composer for Balthazar Snert, he did the music for Teen Titans Go, Ellen, and a bunch of really big shows. And
so he's new.
He knows.
Kidding.
Yeah, he's friends with the person at Netflix. So.
Gotcha. So he got you the intro.
Yeah. So he's
okay. They saw your piece. They loved it. They said, "Let's at least listen to these people."
Yeah. So.
When did that start?
The composer, the Netflix angle?
Yes.
Yeah, the Netflix thing came in just last week.
Oh wow!
Because we were just talking with the composer, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm friends with meeting up with lunch for lunch." So yeah, that's how that came about.
Now, what's kind of the timeline for Netflix taking on something? Does it vary? If they love it, they take it on right away. Is it a year? Do they tell you up front, hey, this is an 8-month process?
Yeah, this is all new territory.
Okay.
I have not sold a show before, I don't know.
Well, that's good. We get to have you back on in a couple months after they write you a big check, and we can all watch you on TV.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Watch your product on TV.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Gosh, I have so many questions. I don't know where to start, and I don't think you have all the answers because you're not there yet. But I'm just so curious. I would love to be. I think it'd be so neat to be in your position. It's got to be exciting. Tell me.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Nervous,
nerve-wracking, and exhausting at the same time because it's like this is 3 years that we've been working on this, and it's just a constant. Marathon to get this thing going off the ground. So
and you have to work on that for 3 years off and on.
Yeah,
and still make money.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's why. That's my back burner side gig or not even a gig, but just the back burner is trying to make this animation while trying to, make money at the same time on other stuff.
Because no one's paying you to do your Balthazar and Zert.
No.
I'm going to butcher that name. Snert. If it makes you feel any better, I butcher regular names daily. So
I get the name wrong all the time, too. So.
No, you don't. It's your baby. What were we just talking about, Jim?
Just the having to do the...
Oh, yeah, make money.
Make money.
Yeah, feed the kids.
Right.
So they can move.
Keep the lights on. You're right.
So you're working a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot.
What do you do to stay fresh, creatively?
Oh, good question. I try to keep up with what's going on as much as possible and try to see what is out there. Because, that's I think what inspires me most is just seeing unique things out there, things that other people are working on that have a new, fresh spin on it. That's probably the biggest thing that helps me go like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that or see that in that light, just seeing new, fresh, unique things helps keep me fresh, helps me keep me.
Do you work out?
Yeah.
You do?
I love mountain biking, kayaking. I used to box, but it's been a while.
Is that a good reset for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have ADHD, so I have to work out to just keep the cobwebs out from forming in my brain.
Is that you're saying you have ADHD or you've been diagnosed?
Oh no, yeah, I do.
You do.
Yeah, I think it's kind of universal.
I'm not putting you on the spot, but you meet 10 people and 8 of them say they have ADHD these days. And
yeah, it's kind of trendy for people to say that, but no, I really do.
Okay. To me, I asked that because as a creative person, if I'm in a rut, there's a lot of things I can do, but if I can't get out of that rut through inspirational art or music or video, whatever it is, sometimes I got to work out.
Yeah.
I have got to work out. I got to get that brain moving, get that blood going through my brain in a different way than it normally does. And sometimes things get a little bit brighter and I can just see things through a little bit better.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to do, we were trying to do did some new 7th Street casino spec stuff about 4 months ago. You worked on that project.
Yeah.
Not that specific project, but you did work on 7th Street, but I mean, you didn't work on the spec stuff that we did. And it's like, you find yourself in a hole and the well's not dry. You just know you're not looking in the right places. Mm-hmm. Either that or you need to readjust kind of where you are, either physically and mentally, to help get you where you need to be creatively.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I don't usually talk this much on the podcast. But I usually don't have a lot of creatives sitting across from me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the same because I hit so many, dry spells and just writer's block or whatever, and I think I would say exercise more than anything helps really kind of reboot and get me in a better frame of mind and help so I can tackle whatever that creative problem is that I'm facing. I'm big on exercise because I have to constantly be doing it just to.
And the boxing, I'm sure, helps. It's always good to punch something.
Yeah. I need to get back into it. It's been a few years.
Oh, okay. It's been a while.
Yeah. But I do try to exercise in other ways as much as possible.
Now, exercising our brains now. Yeah. Do you have a touchstone that you go to? What is your go-to for that? If it's not physical activity, is it a TV show? Is it an animated series? Is it none of the above? Is it a book?
I try to read as much as possible. I do get inspiration from reading quite a bit. I guess I'm constantly searching new content online. There's so many different, because I try to, as much as possible, stay fresh on what is trendy and what is new and unique. And so there's so many different channels. Mm-hmm. It used to be just TV and print, and now you got all the social media stuff. So it's trying to stay on top of that and consume as much animation in the different channels that it comes within. Really helps kind of get my creative juices flowing.
Nice. I asked someone this question a few interviews ago. Tim, maybe you can remember. We were talking about counterculture. May have been Hampton Stevens. It was it? Mm-hmm. Where do you feel the counterculture is in not just animation, but film?
In film?
Mm-hmm. Or film and animation. Because it felt like growing up, there was a counterculture that lived kind of like on satellite and cable and dish, and they ran shorts, and they ran indies all day, or late at night, at least.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can find that online if I knew where to go. Is there a counterculture for film and animation in 2022?
I'd definitely say animation, yes. There's so much bizarre and unique and counterculture animation, even on Netflix.
Netflix has that new animated, they group together 8 animated shorts. Each one's about 15, 20 minutes long. They vary. Some are 8 minutes. I dipped into that recently. But is there a different place I could go besides Netflix? Is there a website? Is there...
Yeah, there used to be so many good websites. Like Homestar Runner was a great one. I don't think it exists anymore. I used to... back in college, I used to watch... what was it? I can't remember it now. It's probably not around anymore anyways.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Have you ever pitched a show to another studio? Not Netflix. Anything else?
Smaller studios, yeah, a couple times. I mean, real small stuff, but nothing on this level before now.
What would be a small studio? Paramount? I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, it did get pitched to Paramount, but they're looking for Pixar animation. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just really small local stuff as far as, just trying to get, just a short made. But definitely nothing at this level yet. So this is all new territory for us. And, yeah, for me especially, yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to sit down with some of the local networks and have them make it appealing for them to get some of their overnight times?
Yeah.
And air local content there?
Uh-huh.
That's a good idea.
That would be great. Yeah, I know that we had something like that with
They would get
Casey.
new eyeballs. It would be fresh content, and we don't have to watch whatever they're showing, an infomercial.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, that would...
As soon as all the station managers get done with political, which is now wrapping up, should bring that up.
Yeah, definitely.
And they have the real estate.
Yep.
You turn on, anyway. Are there things in the animation industry that have you concerned?
Yeah, there are. I mean, I think the biggest thing is there's an underappreciation of what goes into it. So that makes it easier for, because I know like most recently HBO was bought out by Discovery Channel, and that the new CEO just axed a bunch of animation content from their program. Mostly it was a way to save money because they don't have to pay the royalties for the repeat, because a lot of it was animated content that was already done, so it wasn't like they're putting a kibosh on new animation. It was just
trying to lower their overhead.
Yeah, and it just seems like animation is the first thing to go on the chopping block because it's a lot of, in America especially, it's viewed as animation is like for kids. Like that's how our culture kind of views animation. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you go anywhere else in the world and it's there's so much animation that's adult animation, all age animation. It's more universally accepted as just another form of storytelling versus this is kids only.
Give me some countries. Give me some examples.
I mean, Japan would be probably like my first thought goes to. That's where we get so much good anime from Japan, like Akira and Ghost in the Shell. I remember watching those as a kid and just being blown away. Like, wow, this is, because you're so used to seeing what animation in America looks like, and like, wow, this is what you can do. Like, these are actually grown-up stories, these really good action movies that are just happen to be animated. So yeah, just seeing that trend of just seeing the trend of animation not taken seriously, and so could be first to go with a lot of like the HBO merger.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Would you say that, what was it, the late 90s when anime became predominant, a lot more visible?
Mm-hmm.
Did that help us in the United States animate more?
Oh, yeah.
I imagine they had to push us to do more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that definitely helped push a lot of the animation you see now. I think for one, it just made a lot of people realize that they didn't have to, make, Disney or Sesame Street like cartoons. Like they can make it for any kind of genre.
And you can also mix the two.
Right.
That's how they shot Wild Things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Spike shot Wild Things first with puppetry, and he edited it and hated it. And so he reshot it and mixed CGI and puppetry.
Okay.
That's why it looks the way it does.
Huh.
Talk about a process. Is anime done differently on the back end than like what you're producing? It doesn't seem to have a frame by frame motion to it. If I said that right, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean I haven't seen. I haven't been keeping up on any of the new anime. I mean, but yeah. I mean, back when I was a kid, it was traditional hand drawn, frame by frame animation. But I think what they do so well is all the fluid motion made it not even seem like it was frame by frame. Just like they really were masters of just making everything so natural and fluid in the animation that it took on a life of its own. So
it seems like it was a lot of backgrounds.
Yeah.
They focused a lot on background movement, more so than character and foreground. Does that save time? Is that a time thing, or is it just a style thing? Or is that just
I mean, it definitely
an Asian
saves
culture
time.
thing? That's, because every culture is going to do their thing differently.
It definitely saves a lot of time. I mean, character animation is definitely the most time consuming. Like background, compared to character animation is nowhere. Yeah, it's so much simpler. Not simpler, but just not as time consuming. But yeah, because character animation it's a beast.
Yeah. So, are you someone who's going to produce multiple shorts so that you always kind of have something ready to sell if Netflix does not want this? And obviously you'll option it out to someone else, I hope. But do you have something else you're working on?
I have some stuff, in the early stages, but this is definitely the biggest push right now. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to continue producing more animation, and I would love to be at the point where that's all I'm doing is producing original animated content.
Well, do you have different styles, or will everything kind of be the style of your current piece?
I mean, I have a, I mean, my style's pretty, I would like I would really like to make a lot more animated content with different styles. So that would require, bringing in other people as kind of lead animators with their own style, because it's kind of hard to break out of my own style. I mean, I know what my style is, and I've kind of developed that over the years. So I don't know if I can necessarily break out of that really easily and make a brand new distinct style. So I would definitely it would come down to bring in more collaborators and be more. I would like to be on the more of a producer and help produce someone else's style and get just have a catalog of different animations.
Business owner to business owner. What would you do differently if you could? If you could go back 10 years.
If I can go back 10 years.
Yeah, you only get 10.
That would have been 2012. I think I would have really focused more on the niche of animation that I do, as opposed to being more general. Because I think when I first started out, it was anything and everything, kind of video production, visual effects, animation, and I think now at this point I would have, really been trying to get in more of the niche of just doing animation to help stand out more and become that go-to for animation.
What advice would you have for young people listening to this, or people who aren't young and want to get into animation?
Learn patience. It's a very time-consuming production, and I don't know. I guess just keep animating, keep trying, and keep if it's something that you're passionate about, then just learn to tell a story the best way you can through animation, because it really everything comes down to how you tell a story. Whether it's advertising or an animated short, it's, what is the message you're trying to tell. So finding, if you have a unique style, or you're trying to, develop just a unique style, a unique way of storytelling, or,
Are you proud of the way Kansas City's kind of come along as an art scene?
I am, yeah. We,
10 years ago, we weren't where we were. Well, I guess we kind of were.
Yeah, we were.
But if we go 15, 20 years, we're definitely not.
No. And that's a comment that I get, when I travel. People will comment that one of the few things they know about Kansas City is like, yeah, you guys have a great music scene there. You have a great art scene there. And so it's good to hear that.
To hear, yeah.
Yeah. Because, Kansas City is not really a tourist destination, and not a lot of people come here. So that is something that I hear, somewhat frequently. So, yeah, it's good to hear that. Yeah, and besides barbecue sauce, that we're also known for our art scene, and that there's a lot of good art that comes out of Kansas City, enough that people notice and comment on. So,
are you an artist at all, aside from digital?
That's drawing was my, that was my passion all through.
Painting at all?
Not so much, no.
No.
I was never good at painting. But yeah, I drew since I was a kid, and that's kind of what led to animation.
Okay. I know I asked you already, but when are we going to hear from Netflix?
I know. I'm checking
You're more excited than
checking my email every 5 minutes, and yeah.
Is it just could be any day?
Yeah.
Literally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How
excited are you?
I'm excited, but I'm not letting myself get too excited, because, after
Don't want to jinx it.
Right. After going through so many different possible things that could have happened with this project, it's just one of those things where it's like I'm trying to keep my expectations in check, and trying to get too excited, because you never know in this industry. And
no, you don't. Do you think you would have had a quicker chance of getting picked up 2 years ago, when streamers were racing to get content uploaded as fast as possible because they knew everyone was throttling?
Yeah. 2 years ago, yes. Definitely would have probably had a better chance 2 years ago, for sure. Because, that was like during lockdown, during the height of the pandemic. The only real content that was getting made was animation, because people could literally be isolated in their home and be part of an animation team.
Yeah, they shut down all productions.
Yeah, everything else was shut down except for animation. So
and Tom Cruise,
yeah.
That's interesting, because I'll be curious to see what happens. Do you think there'll be a convergence of streamers? We've seen it a little bit already.
Mm-hmm. Possibly, yeah. I don't know enough to comment on that, but yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
Do you do any studio slates? Like, how studios animate their...
Yeah. I do quite a few of those.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
What's the last one you did?
Ooh, last one... I'm actually working on one for right now, just a small production company in Virginia Beach.
Oh, cool.
It's just some independent filmmakers. One of their Slate animated, so that's what I'm currently doing. That's the last one. Explain
to people what Slate is.
Just like you're talking about
basically your name.
Yeah, the
logo.
Yeah, animated logo. That's
when you turn on a movie and it has the Universal Globe or the Touchstone River or the was it the Mandalay Lion?
Right, the Paramount Mountain.
Paramount Mountain.
Yep.
Those are your slates that you see animate and change and adapt and evolve every few years. And
yeah,
there's Jim who does that.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't done any big slates, but I've done dozens of them for production companies across the U.S. Yeah.
Was there anything else you're working on besides obviously the big project that you're excited about? You want to talk about?
Ooh, yeah. I mean,
Anything corporate?
anything corporate
Or let me just say like retail.
retail. I haven't. Closest thing to retail, I think, was been doing some Holiday Inn spots. I don't do a lot of retail work. I do work on some advertising campaigns, but I don't know. I worked on quite a few exciting projects this year. I would say Home Delivery is a feature film with Rainn Wilson, and it's supposed to be coming out hopefully this year, maybe next year. It was a feature film I did a lot of animation for.
What's it called?
Home Delivery.
Home Delivery?
Mm-hmm.
What's it about?
It's a plus-size supermodel is wanting to have a baby in the home, so it's like it's kind of like it's just a raunchy comedy of, and everyone's coming into the home, and I have not yet seen the whole movie. I've only read the script and seen the parts that I've animated.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it beyond that, but yeah.
What kind of animation did you use on this film?
So title animation, like I did the main titles,
Okay.
and they really wanted to have a kind of a fun animated title sequence. So that's what I.
God, have you seen Free Guy?
Yes. Yes.
How long did that take? How many people did that take? How much money did that take?
I couldn't even begin to tell you. Yeah, a lot.
I mean, I was watching it, and after like just a few minutes, it's like, oh, okay. Someone had a budget.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something you kick out on a weekend for sure.
No. No, well, seriously, that's years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, years and years.
Yeah.
You're not doing that in 2 years, are you?
I mean, it depends on the budget. 2 years.
Well, I guess if you have the staff.
If you have the millions of dollars to throw at it, then
And they did, I'm sure.
kick out in a couple years.
And you only have really one actor
Yeah.
that needs the big salary.
Right.
Was there another huge name in there besides Ryan Reynolds?
I'm trying to think.
I don't think so.
Kevin Hart wasn't in that, was he? No, I think it was.
Everybody else was smaller actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That'd be a fun project to work on.
What else, Jim?
Yeah. Good question.
Mountain biking season's over.
Yeah, unfortunately, God, it's cold. Got cold fast. So I got to find a way to work out indoors, I guess, already.
Will you come back on once you get your Netflix approval?
Sure, yeah.
If we can catch you.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come back on if anything happens with that.
Now, when they pick you up, what does that look like? Do you know? Do they kind of give you an idea? Like, hey, Jim, if Netflix says yes to this and they green light this deal, we need you on the road. You're going to be on the road for 30 days here. You're going to be on the road here. We're going to need you to do some press stuff over here, or no?
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
This is new territory for me. I have no idea.
I know. I keep asking you questions, and I'm just excited. I'm excited for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I've not been down that road yet, so I don't know what all to expect.
Well, I'm really, really excited for you. I want to thank you for all the stuff you've done with Fasoni. You know, you've worked on some, what do you call it? Not adjunct, but you've worked with studios that we've worked with.
Yeah.
And helped us out on some projects. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate
pleasure.
you coming by.
Absolutely.
And if you have anything else you want to say, let's say it. And otherwise, I want to shake your hand and get you back in front of a computer.
All right.
Or a punching bag.
Yeah.
One of the two.
I really appreciate you bringing me on, and it was great talking with you.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go have a good Thursday.
All right, sounds great.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Good job.
Whew, thanks.
You okay?
Yeah.
No more pressure, man.
Thanks for listening to the Little Agency That Roars podcast. Be sure to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on FasoniPartners.com under podcast. Be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, and leave a review. If you want to submit an interview or submit yourself for an interview, please email roar@FasoniPartners.com. That's ROAR @FasoniPartners.com. Thanks.